Hello everybody, I'm SJM. Welcome back to episode 38 of SevTech Ages of the Sky. We're almost to age 5. I'm excited. Let's take a look here at the advancements. So age 4, we need to get our rocket ship and launch it to the moon. So we are going to need quite a few things before we get there. So we got to build our rocket and launch it to the moon. We will need the landing pads and the spacesuit. So there's more than just the spacesuit to go in there. So we'll go over that as we go through here. And then we'll need to get fuel for our rocket. So that's done through the Immersive Engineering refinery. And we get the oxygen we needed to get that through the oxygen collector. And then the other thing that we'll need is a fuel loader to put the fuel into the rocket itself. So, and then the other thing that we need with oxygen is we need oxygen tanks so we can breathe while we're on the moon. So there's another machine that we'll need there as well, and we'll just go over all of this initial crafting, and then the next episode we will put the rocket together, put it on the launching pad, and get to the moon. So first things first, to get to our spacesuit, and I took it off of my JEI here, so to get the spacesuit, we need the unprepared spacesuit, and then we need to add 2 armor layers, a radiation layer, and a pressure layer. So these armor layers were really simple. You just take a bunch of aluminum ingots and craft them like this in our compressor, and then we get an armor layer. So we just needed to make 8 of those, 2 for each of the pieces, right? The trickier part got to when we wanted our pressure layers. So our pressure layers are wool and these oxygen concentrators. Believe it or not, the oxygen concentrators were 10 times easier than the wool. So just some compressed tin, compressed steel, and the tin canisters, which is just aluminum, like in a U there. Not a big deal. The big deal is the wool. What an amazing pain in the butt grind it was to get, what did I need, like 32 wool or something like that, like something like pretty insignificant amount of wool ended up being hours of grinding. That is because the only way to make wool is to get your blocks of wicker and surround it with fleece. Now I had lots of fleece lying around because I've been slaughtering sheep to make my meaty stews. The problem came with the wicker. And the wicker itself, oh, wrong one, is 4 pieces of wicker to make a wicker block, and each wicker takes 4 sugar canes. So for each piece of wool, you need 16 sugar canes. So I ended up, not only setting up as much sugar cane as I could plant around here and over here at my other pond as well, letting that grow, going out, harvesting all the sugar cane I could find off of islands out there. It was over a couple of hours of grinding. So if you don't have that sugar or the sugar cane saved up from earlier, and you're watching this kind of in advance, prepare yourself, because the wool was a huge pain in the butt. Anyways, we'll go over the spacesuit crafting. It's pretty simple. Some aluminum plates and the plastic that we got from our modular machineries. So we'll just make each of these pieces. I've already calculated all the crafting for all this stuff out, so I've already got exactly what we need for all of this stuff here already. So we'll just throw it together. Now these things can be powered but you need modules in it first, and from what I can tell, you don't get the modules until we get into the next age. So we're not going to worry about that for now, but we do have the spacesuit almost finally put together here. So the last couple of things that we're going to need for our spacesuit is an oxygen mask and our oxygen gear so that we can actually breathe while we're out and about there. So the oxygen mask's pretty simple except for these pain in the ass panes, which you got to pour out in the smeltery. As it is what it is. We should have learned that from doing astral sorcery, so you should be prepared for doing that. So there's our oxygen mask, and then the oxygen gear takes one of these oxygen concentrators and some fluid pipes. The fluid pipes, again, pretty simple. It's just glass panes. So I already have all that together. I'll just lose my spot and find it. Yeah, there we are. So now if we open our inventory and we go over to this tab here, this is where we can put in our oxygen mask and our oxygen gear, and then we'll also need to get a couple of oxygen tanks. And these don't go here. We have to replace our actual gear with the oxygen gear. So you won't be able to use your astral mantle or an elytra or other like your dog pelt boots, whatever you have when you do get to the other planets, because you'll need to be using your space gear. On the other hand, we look pretty dapper. Like, that's pretty snazzy, I think. Cool, right? Anywho, so now let's on to the oxygen collector. This takes some compressed steel. These oxygen vents, we're going to need a ton of these, so you just have to get used to crafting those up. Just some compressed steel, more compressed tin. So just make a few stacks of tin, a stack of steel, a stack of bronze, and get all that compressed stuff together. Before you get into Galactic Craft, you should be fine. The other trickier thing is you'll need an Invar gear to make the fan. So we do that together. Oh, I didn't make my Invar gear actually yet, or my fan actually. So there, we've made the fan. And just put together the oxygen collector. There we are. And then the one thing we'll need to put the oxygen into our tanks is the oxygen compressor. So this one's even simpler than the fan. Just all of these things here. And I ran out of oxygen concentrators finally. I had obviously miscalculated by one on the amount of oxygen concentrators I needed. All right, so the fuel loader, this is again super simple stuff. We got the big pain in the butt, which is the printed circuit board. So I got all of that stuff together ahead of time. I don't need this for today's episode. Maybe we'll get the fuel into the loader, but nah, not a big deal. The rocket launch pad, again, just some blocks of iron and some compressed iron. These are the only compressed iron I've found so far, so you don't need to make a ton of this. Just have enough ready so that you can make a set of launch pads. I think I made a few extra just in case I ran out, or something came up later I'm not too sure about. So let's go over what we need now to get our fuel. So to get our fuel for the rocket, we'll need to mix liquid oxygen and kerosene in the refinery from Immersive Engineering. So you have to look up the recipe for it, throw it together. I've got mine done and it's over on my industrial island right now. So we'll just we'll get our oxygen things together here first. So we'll put down the collector. Oh, so yeah, we need to power the collector. So I could use the thermoelectrics, but I figured there's these simple generators, And I made the liquid one, but there's a whole bunch of simple generators. So a simple combustion generator, you can just throw charcoal or coal into it to power things. There's the culinary one, you can just throw spare food in to get power. Ender generator, if you want to use ender pearls or ender dust. Nether generator, I'm not sure what you throw into that to make things. Soul generator, again, I'm not 100% sure what fuel it takes, but I went with the fluid combustion generator there, and it was not too hard to make. I did have to make the combustion generator, then a block of redstone, a cauldron, nothing too simple. But if you throw gasoline into this, which is one of the byproducts that I got from the oil refinery and processing the diesel, and I didn't have any other uses for it, it gives a lot. Like this, I put one bucket into here and it's filled up 64,000, plus I've used a little just to power my inscriber there for now. So the oxygen collector, so we just need to figure out which way to put this down. So the square green dot is our power input, so we'll need to put this guy down right here, and that should be getting power. So it's got power now and it's starting to collect oxygen. So we will just pump our oxygen into our tank. Yes, so it goes down a bit before it goes back up, so I'm pretty sure the oxygen is going in there, even though I can't really see it. And then we'll just let that run for a little bit, and we will it might be a rendering thing, or it might just be because you can't see oxygen. And I think this here would be, oh, maybe it's because I need to use the output. There we go. Now we can definitely see oxygen in there, and it's filling from the top down, which is really cool. I actually really like that. That's awesome. All right, yeah, so we can see that's there. It's still generating oxygen and filling up this tank here. I don't think we need to fill this up all the way, so we can just grab this guy and, oh yes, I forgot. Put this down. We need to fly. So we will fly away on over here. So this is the refiner. We'll just put that down there. We'll need to grab some of the kerosene that we have sitting over here. And let's just see if this works. Oh yeah, works beautifully. So we got all the kerosene pumped in there, and we will use one of the liquid hoppers to get oxygen pumped in this way. So oxygen gas is going in there, and then it's processing it, and we are getting fuel now. So now we can take a empty one and do that, and now we've got fuel in a tank here. Now I could have probably just put it right into the fuel loader. Hindsight, I guess. Maybe we can also do it this way and just put the fuel loader down. Take a look at the sides here. So that's the power side. This will probably be the input side. So if I put it down this way, yep, we should be able to put fuel in there. Yep, there comes the fuel. So I want to test something here just quickly. Yes, I voided the fuel by breaking it. So good thing I tested it there. So we'll just put it down. We'll just have to remember we need to use carry on mod to be able to move that from here over to wherever we're going to set up our space pad or our launching pad to fuel up the rocket. So that's everything I was going to cover in this episode. I'm out of oxygen gas, so I'm going to make some more fuel. None in there. How much is in here? Yeah, not too much. So yeah, I'll go get some more oxygen gas. It collects pretty free. It's pretty free except for the little bit of power that it's taking, which isn't a heck of a lot, to be honest, because if I go in and look at my generator here, yeah, I've still got 880 out of my 1,000 that I put in there of the diesel fuel, so not a problem there. So yeah, we'll get a full bucket of fuel and have that all ready to go for the next episode, and we are off to the moon. I appreciate you all. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.